Aired.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi, Esther.
Hello.
Hello. So we were really surprised. We got a ton of people at the in-person voting. So when Jamie Lou starts the meeting, I'm going to duck out and work on the data and try to get that all pulled together. I had hoped that I would be doing that during the in person in order to get that quick turnaround on results. But let's see. I don't know. Are you back in person at work?
I am not. I'm still working from home.
Have they, my husband's company says they think that they'll be from home through midsummer. Have they told you what they think?
Oh, I think it changes week by week. So no firm date yet.
Hard to tell with everything changing so quickly.
Yeah.
Got to get the chat open here. So if you could watch for me as people join, I'm going to make you a co-host if you're willing to just admit people. I'm just putting it in the chat. I want to put the link in the chat so that people can go in and vote up until 7:15. Are you good with that, Esther?
Yep, I'm good with that.
Okay. Hey, Jamie, did you hear that? Okay, you are the host now, so you can let people in. I'm going to put the job form in the comments. And then that way Jamie will be able to run the meeting. But yeah, turnout has been great. Let's see.
It's always great when it's a hot topic.
Right. I get that. But it's, I'm always happy to have people engage.
Oh yeah, without doubt.
So for the rest of you on the call, if any of you came to with the purpose of voting, I am putting that in the chat right now.
Kate, what time are we stopping the voting?
7:15, and I'm posting the link in the chat right now. I transferred hosting to Esther so she can let people in.
Thanks, Esther.
And then I'm going to duck out until I come back at 7:30 or maybe even before and present.
Hi, Hillary.
Hey there.
Hey. I've
Good
got like,
evening.
hello. Trying to figure out I've got the sun and all. I'm not
Well, we had
complaining.
almost people come to the park today.
Yeah, you were there at the park? Good.
Yep.
Okay, we'll just wait another minute. Okay, someone asked a question. I'm going to go ahead and answer. How is the voting going to work? So tonight, what we're going to do is we're not going to vote by a show of hands on Zoom. We're asking that if you have not already, to please go to the form online and vote there. Kate is compiling everything, and then she's going to come back at 7:30 and let everyone know the results. 7:30, maybe earlier. We'll close it at 7:15, and she'll let everybody know after that what the results are. That was kind of very circular talk, but I hope you understood what I said. So,
well, sorry to
yes.
interrupt. So I've tried to click many times on that link on the website, and it takes me to this meeting link.
So there, if you look in the chat, Kate's posted the link to the form.
On the
Our
chat or on the website?
Okay, it should
on the Collister website, because when I go to the Collister website, it says voting has begun. Click here to cast your vote.
And it takes you to this?
And it takes me to that meeting, and it's been doing that to me all day. And I had to go to work, so I figured I'd just wait till 7 to ask you really fast. I see someone posted this link, so let me see. I just don't know if anyone else is having that problem.
I just posted the jot form link in the chat.
The jot form link in the chat was posted by oh my gosh, I'm drawing blank.
Kate.
Yeah, I see it now. So
both Kate and Hillary have posted a link. So
yeah, I'm just letting you know. I don't know if anyone else has reached out to you and said that happens, but on my iPhone, it takes me, even though it looks like it should link to the form, it takes me.
Oh no. Oh no.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, that link doesn't work.
Okay. We'll get started. I'm Jamie Liu. I'm the secretary for the CNA, if you don't know who I am yet. And I know that there are several people who have gone to vote, but are unfamiliar with some of the board candidates. So for all the board candidates that are here, I would like to have you guys just take a couple quick minutes to say who you are, how long you've been in the neighborhood, maybe a little bit about your background or why you want to be on the board. And that'll give everybody a few minutes to be able to go out and vote then. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense, Jamie. I can start if you want me to.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So my name is Colby Scott. I have lived in the neighborhood for about 4 years now. I am married and have 2 kids, a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. I work for HP. I was in the Army for 6.5 years, and when I got out, I went to Boise State and used my GI Bill and got my degree, and then got a job with HP and have worked there ever since. So why I want to join the board, I got kind of alerted late, I would say, to what was happening with the IFS shelter, but feel pretty passionately about it. And so I just wanted to try to help and pitch in whatever way I could. And this is one way that Kate suggested that I could try to be helpful. And so I am throwing my hat in the ring. So that's me. Thank you.
Thank you for throwing your hat in the ring. And Colby is up for an member at large position.
So Jamie Lou, sorry,
Yeah.
this is
Esther.
Could you please identify how many positions are up that participants today can or will or should encouraged to vote?
Yes. So we have the position of vice president, and Hillary Takahashi has applied for that position. She previously applied to do some event work with the board, and she can talk about herself. And for treasurer is Doug Drinka. And then there are 2 at-large board positions, and there's 3 people running for that, and that's Colby Scott, Elizabeth Kahn, and Leslie Halverson. Okay, so there's essentially 4 positions that you're voting for: vice president, treasurer, and 2 at-large board positions. Doug, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure.
Thanks.
My name's Doug Drinka. I have been in the Collister neighborhood for 2.5 years, most recently living on Hawthorne. Moved here about 6 months ago. When I heard that Collister was going to be thinking a little bit about what the Sycamore overlay was going to look like in the future, I wanted to get involved and just start thinking along with people on that. So I've been sort of serving on a Sycamore Overlay Committee and helping out with transportation related issues for the past couple months. And then most recently with the IFS work, I offered to serve as sort of a interim spokesperson for the neighborhood, just to be able to put together the thoughts that everyone had and shared in the survey. I'm interested to continue serving with serving the board really and serving the neighborhood because I love this place and I just want to see it thrive, and I want to help everyone have a voice.
Thanks, Doug.
Sure.
Hillary.
Hi, I'm Hillary Takahashi. I've lived in Collister in the Sycamore area for just over a year. I'm an upstate New York transplant. I first got involved because they were looking for somebody to do some event planning and community organizing, and I had a background in that. I offered my services, and then with Interfaith coming up, we've had a little bit of shuffling in the board and offered to do the position of vice president. like Doug, I'm also passionate about the Sycamore area, as well as the future of planning and zoning is currently rewriting the planning and zoning for the city for the first time in several decades, and how that will impact and affect our neighborhood, as well as the future urban renewal district coming up. And Interfaith kind of just happened. None of us were aware of it when we joined. And I am happy to voice and lobby for the community in whatever capacity they vote us to do that.
Great, thank you. Is Elizabeth Kahn on? Sometimes people are on different names depending. Is Elizabeth on? Okay, Leslie, are you on?
Hi there, I am.
Okay.
So you just want a little background, is that?
Yeah, people are voting for the positions on the board, and several people have said, I don't know who these people are. So if you could just introduce yourself, how long you've lived in the neighborhood, why you want to be on the board. Yeah, just a little something.
You bet. So I wrote up a little thing for Kate, but so I grew up on 36th Street. My kids are 4th generation Boise High graduates. I currently live on Tamarack Drive. I've been here for 5 years. This is the furthest west that I have lived in Boise. So I raised my kids in the East End and served on the East End Neighborhood Association board for a few years. Prior to that, I owned a little place called Roosevelt Market, which was a neighborhood market. I have a background in managing HOAs, which we don't have many of in this area. I'm currently doing property management, and I like being involved in my community. So I was asked if I would be interested, and I said I would.
Great. Thank you, Leslie.
You bet.
I'm going to put one more call out to Elizabeth. No? Okay. So you've had a little introduction from everyone. So please go out to that link that's in the chat if you have not done so already. So I'm going to just take this opportunity at our last meeting. I know one of our neighbors had something that they wanted to discuss. So I'm just going to throw out, is there any burning issues or something that somebody wants to discuss that does not have to do with the Interfaith Sanctuary or the vote for board position?
I mean, I'll add quickly to that. So I talked about the rezone being rewritten, and phase be released on or about April 15th, which will involve what the future zoning of our neighborhood will look like. So as soon as we get that released, we will share it with everyone, but that would be the most pressing other matter coming up in the next week or
so. Jamie Lou, I'd like to add on that. I sit on the Rezone Advisory Committee for the city. I don't sit on it representing the Collister neighborhood, but I do sit on the Collister neighborhood board as the P&Z contact. So when we have discussed overlays, I have expressed concern about residents in the Sycamore overlay and their concerns. So I just want to point out that any public participation opportunities will be sent out as part of the monthly email update. So I encourage all of you, if you are not already registered to receive through the Collister neighborhood website, to receive the planning and zoning email notices, because what I do is pretty much anything that comes through the city, transportation included, goes out in that email, and it's essentially a summary no position on anything, simply a summary and opportunities for community and neighborhood residents to participate in surveys conducted by both the city and Compass. And occasionally there are Idaho transportation surveys for road projects along adjacent to our neighborhood.
Sorry, and I'll also add one more thing, sorry. The city's also kind of informed me in the meetings that Doug and I have had with them that we have about a week to organize and respond to whatever that planning and zoning proposal rewrite states. So it will be a very short window for input on our end.
So again, I'll just reiterate, I'll put the link in the chat as well, that if you are not receiving emails around planning and zoning, Esther's great at her timely notices. And as you can see, we have Doug and Hillary have also been involved in listening. Please sign up so that you can get those notices so that you can respond as well. Is there anything else? Elizabeth's trying to get in, it says.
She's in. She's in.
She is in. Okay. Elizabeth, you're there? There she is.
There we go. It's finally working. Sorry. Thank you.
Would you, as you are running for one of the at-large positions, would you mind just taking a couple minutes of introducing yourself, how long you've been in the neighborhood, why you want to serve on the board, anything you think?
Sure.
Yeah.
Actually, I did withdraw my my request to run.
Okay.
But yeah, but I think it still got put on the ballot. So I mean, that's fine. Yeah, but if you need me to tell you something about myself, I'm happy to do that. Sorry.
Okay, so everyone who has not voted yet, please note that Elizabeth has removed herself from candidacy for the at-large position. And thank you for even considering it, Elizabeth.
Thank you for considering me.
And I apologize, this is Kate, for the ballot was already out when you took your name off. So, and I think I sent you back an email saying, no, we will find work for you to do.
And I will do it. And that's fine. And I can still be on the ballot. But I think if you have some just fabulous candidates that have been in WYSI for a long time, then run with it, go with it.
Yeah, I am hoping you'll be the chair of the IFS committee.
I will, if you want me to, I will absolutely.
Done.
Okay.
Is there anyone who is struggling to vote? I can wait a little bit before I tabulate. Yeah, I don't want to cut anyone out who's having tech difficulties. Okay, then I will move forward.
Okay. So Kate, you're going to tabulate and you'll come back to us?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think Claire is on tonight. Otherwise, I would ask her to give us a little arts update.
Let's see.
So I appreciate everyone's patience while we're just waiting for tabulation. Unless there's something that somebody else would like to bring up.
Jamie?
Yeah. Thanks, Esther.
So really quickly, this Collister neighborhood meeting is for Collister neighbors to, one, vote on candidates for the open seats, and two, if there's any other neighborhood related discussions, including the Interfaith Sanctuary. I just want to make sure that this is not I want to confirm with everyone that this is not a venue for other neighborhood associations to participate in the Collister Neighborhood Association. And the reason why I ask this is because the Veterans Neighborhood Association is seeking admission into this call. And I just, this is just my personal take. I would like to focus on the Collister neighbors and any property owners that live outside of our neighborhood but have property within the Collister neighborhood. So I do not know how folks want to proceed forward on this. I just wanted to bring this up.
Thank you for bringing that up, Esther.
Well, when we voted, we had to say our address and give proof of where we lived.
Legally, you have to allow, it's a public meeting. Legally, you have to allow us to attend. This
Sure.
is, you can't, we may not be able to avoid your opinion,
But in terms of
you can't kick
voting,
us
you
out.
have.
Okay,
No,
No,
exactly.
we're not
I'm
planning
totally cool with all that.
Hold on a minute, everyone.
Let's have one person at a time, please. Let's pretend we're passing the stick. One person chatting at a time because we can't hear when everyone speaks over each other.
Hey, Jamie, just for clarification, and or not really clarification, but a reminder. I know that various topics we're going to be discussing or will be discussed this evening are, many of us are very passionate about the various topics. And so one thing I would like everyone to keep in mind is to be respectful of one another. So as Jamie said, you know, maybe what we need to do here is raise the little hand function for each person to speak so that we aren't speaking over each other. And I surely hope that we're not yelling over each other. We should be listening to one another and being respectful of one another.
Thank you, Esther. And I understand, you know, how other neighborhoods or residents and other in our neighboring neighborhoods are curious and want to listen in. I think that the idea is just really let's have our space while we get these votes together, and all of this will become public after the meeting anyway. So just so that we're not having a lot of debate about it now. We're voting now and actually I think the voting has been closed. So if there's other things going on in the Collister neighborhood, I think did everybody receive their little postcard in the mail? Anyone not receive a postcard?
Yes, thank you.
Yes. There was just one little typo because, you know, when you do things fast, that happens. And I think it had to do with the Collister picnic. Somebody correct me if I am wrong, that we said that we weren't going to have one for another 2 years. That's incorrect.
You know, and if it's safe by this fall, maybe we'll try to do some fall harvest with the scarecrow contest or something. So just check Facebook and the website and we'll try to keep you updated on that.
Yeah. And I want to put out a little reminder, and I'll put this on our Facebook page, but I realize that not everybody is on social media. It's springtime and it's the time of cleaning out closets and garages and things like that. Please remember not to staple notices onto our electrical poles. It's 1, against state statute, and 2, Idaho Power really does not want us to do that because those little staples that get left behind when their workers are trying to climb the poles, those can be kind of dangerous if they're sticking out and things. So just a reminder about that. Okay. And we're waiting. I feel like I need trivia questions about the neighborhood. Who's got a good trivia question about the neighborhood while we wait? Okay, I'm sorry, I was looking at the chat.
Someone has to have a good joke.
I know, huh?
Come on.
A good piece of trivia, a good joke. How many of you have been here long enough to remember the Sycamore Stroll? Raise hands. I see no hands. No one has?
Explain. Come on. I don't know what that is.
So there used to be, oh, Esther remembers, there used to be an event, an annual event, the weekend of Father's Day on Sycamore, which is my street, which was called the Sycamore Stroll. And it expanded beyond Sycamore, but really all of the neighbors got together, pitched in a little bit, and for an ad in the paper, and they would have a street long garage sale. So everybody had a sale. And my neighbors next to me, the gardeners at the time, had a food license, and they would cook breakfast outside in the morning and lunch at lunchtime. And Linda would bake pies. So you could come, have breakfast, walk all around the neighborhood to all of the garage sales, come back, have lunch, go sit in the park, and make a day of it. And people would come from all over the place. Does anybody else remember that? Want to share something about that? And then the people who coordinated it aged out and no one picked it up. And so it stopped. And the gardeners no longer have food license, so. Oh, how many people were here before Catalpa Park was even here? How long ago was that? When did the park come into being? That had to have been before I moved here. I moved here 26 years ago, 27 years ago. I appreciate everybody's patience as we're just like sitting here waiting for results. About 20 years ago? Huh. So it must not have been here when I moved here, but I first started living in this neighborhood on Woody. So on the kind of on the other side. Yeah. Well, Eileen remembers before Catalpa Park. 2 small houses with,
So I have a really quick question. So
Yeah.
we're voting. So are the voting results going to be, well, the officers are final, but the Interfaith Sanctuary is kind of, you know, in limbo. It doesn't really matter how many participants are on this call. I mean, 55. Like, I guess I'm just wondering why we would vote on the Interfaith Sanctuary.
well, there was a lot of discussion about that. If somebody wants to jump in, feel free. We as a board, those of us on the board, heard a lot from neighbors that encouraging us to take a formal stand one way or the other as the proposal, well, as things were proposed and even further as things go on. So that's why there was a vote. There was a survey at first to take a pulse point. A lot of things happened since that survey. So we felt like we needed to take a formal vote whether residents wanted the board to represent the neighborhood in a formal fashion either for or not or abstain, remain neutral regarding potential interfaith sanctuary on State Street. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah. So
I
we're
just wonder
yeah. So we're waiting here.
if this
as I
vote
said,
today really,
yeah.
I mean, if the vote comes in one way or the other, is the Collister neighborhood going to put forward that stance of the 55 voters?
Well, there's 55 participants, but I'm imagining that there's more people than 55 that voted. That's just not on this
okay.
call.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I apologize.
No, that it was some of the discussion that the board had originally about the original survey, and that's why we felt like we needed to have a formal vote.
Sure, I appreciate that.
Versus just going off of the survey results. So
yeah. So this vote, whatever way it goes, I mean, what's going to happen after that with the Interfaith Sanctuary for our neighborhood association?
Well, the neighborhood association will the board members will represent the vote as however that vote happens. What happens to the sanctuary is going to be a whole host of things and in whatever way it goes, I encourage everyone, however you're feeling, if you feel passionate about this, that you get involved from a personal level as well, and not just from the neighborhood level. So as a resident in this area, you know, writing your letters to the city when the proposal goes to the city, or, you know, attending the meetings via Zoom, however that goes.
May I ask a question about planning and zoning? I think maybe Esther might have the answer to this. So does the Collister neighborhood get a specific amount of time at the planning and zoning meeting for the interfaith permit? And is that what we're voting on today, how the neighborhood is going to represent all the people that live here based on what we decide to the planning and zoning? Is that what this vote is for?
So is this Erica speaking?
This is Erica, yes.
Okay, so Erica, the planning and zoning, so when the application goes before planning and zoning, the neighborhood association in which the proposal is located will have 15 minutes, I believe it's 15 minutes, to provide comment. As you all know, this proposal is not within the confines of the Collister neighborhood, although it could potentially have impacts, cumulative impacts. So that would go to the veterans. So the Veterans Neighborhood Association would be the one that had that time. As individuals, every single one of us, if we all wanted to go voice our opinion, could do so and are provided with 3 minutes, I believe it's 3 minutes, to share your thoughts with the planning and zoning. And then similarly, that's the same process with the city. Although I will say, typically when a project is appealed from planning, the decision is appealed at planning and zoning. If you did not participate in the public comment opportunity at planning and zoning level, you may not be afforded with that opportunity during the appeal.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for that information. I appreciate it.
So Esther, then if we as a neighborhood wanted to take a stance one way or the other based on this vote, if we requested the opportunity to be able to speak?
We could request the opportunity, but I do want to point out that we have the option, it's not individual board members. as individual board members, but as a neighborhood association. So we as a neighborhood association, a group, right, have the opportunity, not just on this project, but any project, if there are concerns, especially if it does not adhere to existing ordinances or the comp plan, we have the option to submit comments as a neighborhood association. So for example, there was a proposal to build a development up above Quail Ridge Golf Course. There's some property on the north side, and it's a long history, but they proposed in 2019, they proposed a development up in that area. And what happened was the Central Foothills Neighborhood Association was the neighborhood where this property is located in, and they asked other neighborhoods to consider submitting comments. And in that case, Collister neighborhood, took a tally. We reached out to the residents, got their input. We had very clear, we knew exactly how this project was not in adherence to the comp plan and to the Foothills Ordinance Plan, because it was being proposed in a very steep area. So there's, I can't say that I've seen other neighborhood associations outside of the primary neighborhood association be provided with 15 minutes or 20 minutes. It's typically the neighborhood association that resides within the confines of that proposal, and then the entity that's proposing the project. But it doesn't hurt if the neighborhood association decides to ask for some additional time outside of the 3 minutes.
And I'm happy to make that request if that's if that's something that we want to do.
So Clay and Wendy, you are asking in the chat if the board can take a decision on the lot split within Sycamore overlay at the corner of Taft and Hawthorne. I was on that call, that there was a notification sent out if you're on the P&Z email listserv about that project. So the neighborhood association was not asked to provide comment on that. So if you're wanting the board to take a position, that would mean that the board would have had to participate in the initial P&Z and then been part of the party to appeal to leave city council.
But it is worth noting that we did have several members of the board at that hearing. So we will have people who could speak on the behalf of the neighborhood association if that's something that the residents would like.
I do want to point something out. During the planning and zoning meeting, it was specifically asked, is there a representative from the Collister Neighborhood Association who would like to speak? And nobody spoke up. And I don't believe there was any discussion among the board as to whether or not the board was going to take a position, official position, or provide comment on that.
That's right. And that's why those people made the right decision and didn't represent themselves as representatives of the association. I'm just throwing out there that for those of you who would like to have some concerns heard, both Hillary and Doug were at that meeting, and you could contact them and they will have the opportunity as individuals to share concerns.
Right, and at that point, the board's stance had mainly been to remain neutral on most issues being brought to the board.
So I'm hoping that during our next quarterly meeting, we can have a discussion on a decision making. So I don't know how many folks that are on today's call were at our face-to-face February 2020 neighborhood quarterly meeting at the Collister Public Library. But during that meeting, we started talking about proposed revisions. We introduced some proposed revisions to our bylaws. And one other item on the agenda was establishing a decision-making policy. Some of us believe that it is very important that the neighborhood association has a documented decision-making policy So it doesn't matter which corner of the neighborhood you live in, everyone has a clear understanding of the expectations of the neighborhood. So, so I hope that we can bring that to the neighborhood residents for a vote at our next quarterly call. And I'm hoping that a document, a policy like that will provide clarity. So when something is proposed in your neighborhood, on your side, on your street, on your block, down the street from you, you know what the process is to engage the board in representing you or the residents in that area on this issue that you have a concern about.
Okay, are you guys ready for some results? Jamie Lou, is that okay if I present?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I was on mute.
Okay, so I have been looking through all of the information. Thank you all so much. There are a number of people on this call who worked really, really hard to get amazing turnout. We did get 387 votes, which is almost double what we got last time for the just general survey. So that is excellent. The bad news is because we got so many responses, I'm not able to give all of the details of what happened because I need to have time to go through and make sure that we verified everybody and that we know what we're doing. But none of the results were ambiguous. So I can, Jamie, if you think it's appropriate, I think I can just state who won, because I know a lot of people are here for this information. Mm-hmm. And then maybe I can work with another board member to go through the data and just make sure that when we give out exact numbers and percentages, we know that that the data is clean.
That sounds fine to me. Does anyone have any concerns about that? Okay.
Okay, a large majority of the votes did come in asking the neighborhood association to oppose Interfaith Sanctuary. So the next step on that is we have an Interfaith Sanctuary committee. If any of you would like to be a part of that, you want to get in touch with Elizabeth as our newly minted committee chair. And she's waving to you from the thing. And then we need all the help we can get to do things well. So sorry, Danielle, I'll try to, is that better? Okay, good, that's better. So, and then the two board, so Doug and Hillary were both elected. Doug will be the new treasurer, and yes, oppose IFS. I'm getting messages from people asking me questions. So yes, we will oppose the shelter. Hillary and Doug have both been elected. Hillary will be the vice president for the rest of the year. Doug will be the treasurer. And the new board members are Colby and Leslie. And so those are the results. You can look, I'm going to work on getting some maps out and some nice breakdowns of the data so that I can share that with you guys in the next couple of days. But we got a lot of responses. So I really appreciate those of you who organized and got people to come out and to vote, because every time we get people involved, it's a good thing. So that's it.
And I just want to remind everyone again that you also have, this is a body and it has some weight as the Collister Neighborhood Association, but you also have the weight of your own voice. So if this did or did not go the direction that you had hoped for, please look for those opportunities to continue to voice your position at planning and zoning when that opportunity comes about, and other opportunities. So
And we may need to revisit it as a board, but the board, without the two new members, all really agreed that it was very important that we express the dissent. So for those of you for whom the vote didn't go the way you wanted it to, not only do you have the opportunity to speak to your beliefs and to share and to work together, but we will also be including those dissenting numbers in our testimony, because I think it really makes our testimony stronger, because everybody knows that we don't all agree on everything, and your voice is heard and will be shared with the city.
Hey, Kathleen, this is Daniel. Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
On those votes that did come in, I think as I was looking at that, I would have, did we go with a plurality of votes, or is it a clear majority of votes? I know that you're still kind of tabulating right now, but did the early indications show that this is going to be greater than 50% have supported, or sorry, not supported, but would like to oppose? Is it more than 50%?
It's well more than 50%. So okay. I think even now, the reason I don't want to share exact numbers is because it's possible that when I go through and clean the data, that the percentages will change somewhat, but the percentages would have to change hugely in order to reverse that.
And as a board, I want you to know that we talked about that data as we have it, you know, stating, being clear about the data, how many households there are in our neighborhood, how many people showed up, which was a substantial number, and then what that actual vote is. So we don't want to misrepresent the neighborhood, but we certainly want to represent all those who came out and voted in the best way that we can.
I wouldn't be surprised if we got 10% of the neighborhood out to vote, which sounds very low, and in some ways it is very low, but it's also an amazing turnout for a neighborhood election. So
yeah. Okay. I was trying to look for the answer to a question someone had, sorry. Next steps. So when, Kate, do you hope to have that data cleared so that we can just get that information back out to the neighborhood? So
my goal is
wondering or waiting.
Right. My goal is to have it by the end of the week, but I'm fairly new to this data game. I was able to plot it on Google Maps. I know that there are definitely some votes that were outside the Collister neighborhood. I was very happy to see that the vast majority were in our immediate area. So we didn't have people from like Texas voting, which is great. Or even, you know, Nampa, Caldwell, the far in the East End, that kind of thing. So they were all close, but yeah, I want to make sure that we are, you know, representing the people who live in the Collister neighborhood.
Yeah. There was another question. If we do get 15 minutes allotted at the hearing, who will speak on behalf of the CNA?
I think most likely that will be me as the president speaking on behalf of the CNA. So Elizabeth and the committee will have a huge role in drafting the statement and making sure that it's well organized. And they will also be doing organizing work to encourage people on all sides of the issue to contact the city council and contact their reps and to get involved with that. But I think probably at the CUP hearing and the city council meeting, I will be speaking for the neighborhood association.
Okay. And I just posted a link for people who had some questions about the neighborhood and some stats and stuff. It's the latest data almanac from the city that has all of the neighborhood data as they best have it. So you can go there and see, you know, what the makeup of our neighborhood is and things like that. Does anyone else have anything that they would like to bring up or discuss? I know tonight we just focused on welcome to everybody to the board, the new folks to the board. So appreciate your service and time and willingness to be part of this organization and representing our neighborhood in the best way we can.
I'll add one more thing. It's something we've talked about in board meetings. So when you do look at those statistics about the neighborhood, we have the largest geographic neighborhood of any neighborhood. So there are times we do struggle getting the word out about everything, and we only get one free postcard mailing a year. So we can't mail postcards for every meeting. So we are looking for people, if you are head of your HOA or really connected in your little neighborhood area, we are looking for kind of neighborhood heads that we can delegate some information to make sure that maybe their specific little geographic area is being contacted and is having the information disseminated to them, especially for those without internet or email and some of the aging population. So if you are interested in being anything like that, that would be awesome. We had some volunteers at the park today who are heads of their HOAs. So that would be awesome.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, just one last call for anything else.
I see a hand up from Erica.
Okay, Erica, is your hand up because
oh, I'm sorry, guys. I did that a long time ago. I'll put it down. I apologize.
Joel's hand is up.
Yeah, I'm curious if there was any progress on the ability to walk on the canal banks. Those have been posted as no trespassing by, I forget the name of the company, Farmers Union. I had volunteered to help on that, and then I had a really bad ski accident and been out of commission the last 3.5 months.
Oh my God.
But I'm walking, I'm retired, and coming back. Anyway, any progress on that?
Esther, you know anything about the canals?
So Emily, I don't know, Emily Charles, I can't say her last name. She was prior to January she's kind of a volunteer that was informing, I believe, the neighborhood on the canal efforts. I haven't seen, at least the city hasn't sent anything out via email indicating what is going on that front.
I have been following the project. I'm on a citywide committee that's been sharing information and what have you. They are progressing. Yes, to somebody, the Sierra Club has been really involved in that. But at this point, my understanding is that it's still in kind of information gathering model and sharing information, and that soon they will be sending all of us information that we can disseminate to the community, because that's really what they wanted us to do in the committee. They brought us in to also share information, but mostly to be kind of, information points on what they're working on. And I'm really excited about the project. I think it's really cool.
Great. Okay. Any last words? Not, I'm going to call time. You guys get the rest of your
real quick on that last question there.
Oh, yes.
Eric Williston. How do you say his last name? Can't remember now.
Yeah, Williston.
He is the great contact for you. I'm sorry, who was talking?
That was just me. I was chiming in and saying he's been guiding us.
Oh, you did say that? I'm sorry, I missed that. Yeah, so he's been doing the amazing job with that. And he can use your help on writing letters because he knows where to write all the letters that will make impact.
Great. Good info. Thank you, everybody, for sharing tonight and for being patient and participating. And if that is it, I'm going to call time.
Awesome. Everybody have a
All
lovely
right.
evening and thank you for participating.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.